city is dead. They're burning it to the ground.
Mom.
What's your name?
Aeneas.
Do you know how to use a sword?
Yes.
The sword of Troy. As long as it remains in the hands of a Trojan, our people have a future. Protect them, Aeneas. Find them a new home.
I will.
As one world collapses, a young hero is sent off to establish and preserve a new one. Yes, it's a story many associate with a man of steel, but thousands of years before it, it was the legend of Aeneas. That's what we're going to talk about on this episode of The Superhero's Journey.
What you know you can't explain, but you feel it.
The first stage in the hero adventure when he's leaving the realm of light and moving toward the threshold.
You're a wizard, Harry. Welcome to Jurassic Park.
That's a standard motif of going into the whale's belly and coming out again.
Therio says every hurt is a lesson, and every lesson makes you better.
The real dragon is in you.
And every time I talked about walking away, it was because I was scared.
A real boy!
Well, the Grail becomes that which is attained and realized by people who have lived their own lives.
First referenced in the Iliad, the Aeneid is where Virgil expands upon the future founder of Rome's backstory. It's set in the Trojan War, and Troy is basically destroyed. Aeneas and some of his closest buddies narrowly escape with their lives. But after that, they're kind of just wandering around in this wasteland, don't really know what to do, where to go. Everyone is gone. But it's not quite hopeless yet. Aeneas is visited in his dream, and he's told to go to Italy and found Rome. On their way, they stop at Carthage, and they're basically marooned there. And if you don't know what that means, it means they're pretty much Gilligan Island. They're stuck, don't know what to do, don't know where to go. But they meet the queen, Dido. No, not that Dido. Yes, that one, right there. This Dido is the queen of Carthage, and she falls in love with Aeneas
and makes sure that he and his friends are as comfy and cozy as possible.
But in the midst of this, Aeneas almost kind of forgets his higher calling. But Venus, she makes sure that he doesn't forget.
You're still here?
Get out!
After getting that swift kick in the ass from Venus, Aeneas and his buddies finally come to accept the fact that they need to leave Carthage. And poor Dido behind, tear. But Venus is helping him, and she lets him know that his dad has some pretty good advice for him in his journey to Rome. The only problem is that his dad happens to be in the underworld. How the hell are you supposed to go down there? Well, Venus lets him know that he needs to find the golden bow, which will allow him entry into the underworld. After speaking with his father,
Aeneas receives advice that will help him during the remainder of his journey to found Rome.
One of the greatest cities in all of the world. All right, so basically in a nutshell, the story of Aeneas is a legend of a hero who leaves a dying wasteland and is able to establish a new home. Where have I heard that one before?
Krypton is doomed. It's his only chance now. It's our people's only hope.
Superman's the greatest story ever. It's a guy that, he's the perfect immigrant story. He's from a doomed planet. His parents love him. Apparently they only had so many resources to build a tiny rocket ship just big enough for a baby, conveniently, and they shipped him off to Earth, and he became the protector of Earth. It's a pretty basic origin story, but when you think about when it was created and the time it was, I mean, he's really the first of the caped superheroes.
Shannon Denton has worked on several popular animated series, including Justice League and Teen Titans. He believes that this common theme of superheroes not having a home not only makes him or her more relatable to us, but it does make them a little bit more likable.
It automatically creates empathy for the character, because I think with Superman and characters like that, you really feel for them because they don't have anybody else, and they're that new kid in school. So immediately as a character, it's great because you sort of latch onto it, and it makes you feel for them.
To further explore the parallels between Aeneas and Superman, we traveled to the University of Arizona's Museum of Art to speak with Olivia Miller.
Olivia is a curator of exhibitions and education for the museum, which recently hosted an exhibit entitled Rome, Legacy of an Eternal City.
People love tragic figures that come from nothing and rise up to something else. People love to see flawed characters because I think it really resembles the human condition. So I think myths kind of have all of that because they have the imaginative part, but it's also kind of rooted in the way humans are.
We asked Olivia specifically about Aeneas' decision to leave Carthage and Dido behind. It's one of mythology's most iconic scenes. But what makes it so iconic?
As humans, we often get distracted and we see sort of the gold shiny object, and that can really derail us from what should be our natural course or the path that we should be on. And sometimes those gold shiny objects are really great and wonderful things, and sometimes they are things that we should really avoid.
This is everything I ever wanted in a life. But I've got responsibilities, Van.
So I think the inclusion of it demonstrates that Virgil's love of his people, which will eventually become the love of the city of Rome, is so important that that city and those people come before any sort of personal desires. And that's so key to the story because it's the essential part of Rome. Life has a lot of sadness and a lot of loss. And what these superheroes like Superman and Aeneas demonstrate to us is that you can use that loss and overcome it, and usually there's a new door open and waiting for you. At least we hope there is.
So what do you think? Do you see any similarities between the story of Aeneas and Superman? Let us know in the comments below. Also, let us know if there are any other characters, motifs, or themes that you'd like to see in a future episode of The Superhero's Journey. Like always, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.